My name is Ashley Paggi of Ash Cascade Design. I am a surface pattern designer, illustrator, painter, I guess just kind of overall creative entrepreneur. I have always kind of been creative, although when I was younger, I didn't really know that you could be an artist. I thought I had to go into graphic design to make my living and everything like that. And I was a kind of a corporate graphic designer for about 15 years. I lived in San Francisco and I worked for companies like Pottery Barn and the Weather Channel and freelanced for Gap and, which those all sound really glamorous, but the reality was kind of a cubicle and, lots of gray walls and long hours and things like that. Now I live in Bend and I'm a mom of 2 daughters, and my creativity has evolved basically so that I can really work around my kids' schedule and my family life. And so I started transforming my graphic design skills into something called surface pattern design. There's surface patterns everywhere that you look, but I create the artwork for different fabric collections, and that's mainly quilting cotton, so it's sold in bolts around the globe. I'm inspired by the nature here because it's a little different than other places. It's a little grittier. Flowers tend to be smaller and they have thorns to protect them from the elements or from animals, and they're not these big, bold, beautiful blooms that come maybe from the south or somewhere that has more water. It's more rustic, but it's also still really feminine, and I kind of draw this parallel between, real femininity, maybe not what we've been taught our whole lives about it, but like some of the grittiest, strongest people that I know are women, and most of the things that are coming out are directly influenced by the women who have come before me. And so my grandmother was a master quilter. She always was taking me to quilt shops and knitting, and I mean, her art came out in the food that she made and the hosting that she did at the holidays and everything like that. And so I don't sew, but I am a fabric designer, and I just realized that that is directly influenced by her, and I hope to be creative forever, so I hope to eventually learn how to sew myself. But the fabric design part has definitely come from that. I recently really was craving getting away from the computer more with AI and social media and everything that we are just consumed with all the time. I was really craving that tangible, gritty, dirty art practice. Being more digitally based for so long, I kind of would tell myself like, oh, I'm not a fine artist. So that was a limiting belief. I didn't think that I could paint. And I spent about 6 months painting every single day. At one point, I just got so frustrated because the vision in my head was not matching the vision that was coming out of my hand and out of my creativity. And I was like, I need to focus and just put everything aside until I'm closer to the vision that I have for my art. And imagine that, like, now I feel much more confident in my painting. I still have a lot of things to learn, but I'm working every day to try to improve that. And that alone gives you a lot of self-confidence. I think there's this need to create that's deep inside me. So even when I'm making something or I think, oh gosh, this isn't going well, or I can't do this, I have learned just to persevere and push through that negativity, because usually right on the other end of that, usually that's when there's some breakthrough. I don't know any artists that are not a little bit feeling imposter syndrome. Even artists that I think are the most amazing artists on the planet go through periods where they're like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. But in order for people to connect with your art, you really have to show up and be visible and get out there as much as you can. It's brought so much more connection into my life, being vulnerable and showing people the process of learning and always admitting that I'm trying to get better also makes people kind of more comfortable around you and drawn to your art, because art is such an imperfect part of humanity. It's just bringing forward what's inside of all of us, and that's imperfect and that's okay, and it's better art if it's in that vein. It's something that I would say to future artists is like, if you have something in your head and it's not coming out the way that you want, just keep going and keep experimenting, and your vision might change a little bit, but also you'll discover parts of yourself that you didn't know. But you can't give up when you make the first piece of artwork that you don't love.